right here. Rotus is here.
Hey, Rufai, welcome back. Good morning.
Thank
to
you.
Good morning, Dubai. Good morning, Adefemi. Good morning to all our viewers out there. Oil prices, we were talking about Iran, Israel, the U.S. remaining elevated in early trading today. I think we're about 75 for Brent. And about 7, did I get that right? No, 76, excuse me. 86.87 for Brent, 75 for West Texas Intermediate. And of course, this is on the back of, now we have, is it possible that the U.S. could, jump in the fights and attack Iran? Again, as has been noted, there's a big division domestically among some of the MAGA faithful as to whether this happens. This viral video, I actually wanted to take this yesterday, but this was, I think, from Tuesday. Tucker Carlson had Ted Cruz on his podcast. And just watch this. This thing went viral like yesterday or the day before. Take a listen.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even. You don't know anything about Iran. So actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay. All right. So Federal Reserve held rates yesterday as expected by the market. So Fed fund rates between 4.2 to 4.5, although they lowered their GDP forecast to 1.4%. Core PCE, which is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, saying to rise to 3% from 2.7. Unemployment, they're saying will rise from 4.4 initial forecast to 4.5. And Powell was talking about how tariffs will actually impact growth. True to form, Donald Trump responding right after the press conference saying too late Powell is the worst, a real dummy who's costing Americans billions. And he now puts an article there, Fannie and Freddie regulator, Powell should cut rates or could. I mean, it's incredible to see a president he called him stupid on the White House lawn yesterday. To see a president insulting a central bank governor is something else. But they're standing firm. They asked him about it. He says, listen, we're following the data. We will not cut rates until we are sure about the inflation path for the U.S. The U.S. government, the Senate, passed a bill called the Genius Act, and this is for stable coins, right? So it's called, Genius stands for Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stable coins. Stable coins are supposed to be have a 1-to-1 ratio with US dollars, with cash. So they're supposed to be backed. So the framework for stable coins is supposed to allow for that 1-to-1 backing, either using US dollars or treasury bills, and it requires disclosures of reserves. So any company that is issuing stable coins has to tell the public how many stable coins you have and then how much is backing it. And this thing could be revolutionary. If you think about, I always like to use your aunt in Florida or the UK that wants to send you money presently. She could send you a stable coin. You would get it in 3 to 4 minutes and be able to convert it and get your money's worth. And the thing for as far as the risk management part is that it has a 1-to-1 ratio with the US dollar. Circle Internet Group, which is a company that has issued a stable coin, it saw its stock price rise 33% yesterday. And you can see what happens when policy goes into the business environment and how company stock prices react. The stock is up 533% year to date because they are now going to be favored in terms of the stable coins that they issue. I think they've already issued one for e-commerce. So this thing is gaining ground. Meanwhile, on the flip side, your traditional financial entities, MasterCard and Visa, their stock prices both fell yesterday. Visa fell by 4.8%, MasterCard fell by 5.3%, because now you're seeing the possibility of banks, fintechs, getting into the stablecoin realm. And also, this is also going to impact cross-border payments. You can think about somebody who wants to do, trading. It's pretty big. So I have to see how this moves going forward. Nippon Steel, after this whole drama between Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel, finally, the deal has closed, $14.9 billion, although there's a caveat in there where what the Trump administration puts in, the U.S. president has a say in any expansion plans or anything and it's not just him, it's just any president comes after him. It's almost like in perpetuity. They get the decision on expansion and whatever else decisions they want to make. I need to make a comparison here. U.S. Steel is 124 years old. They have about 22,000 employees. Market cap is about 12 billion. For this company to be taken over by 14 billion, on the tech side, Mark Zuckerberg and Meta made almost the same amount of money they splashed just to poach the CEO of Scale AI, Alexander Wang, because Zuckerberg is absolutely obsessed with his intelligence board that he wants to put forward in order to try and catch up with OpenAI and the rest. And Scale AI is only 9 years old, right? I mean, by the way, does anyone know why no Middle Eastern countries have actually tried to speak up and deter the US from possibly attacking Iran? It's because of the chips that they got during Trump's trip. The Qataris, the Saudis, the folks in the UAE, all of them are just obsessed with getting these high-tech chips that allow them to build their data center. I mean, tech is, to quote one of Michael B. Jordan's characters in Sinners, this is the way. I mean, this is where everything is going. So it's just incredible putting those 14 billion deals side by side with a 9-year-old tech company versus a 124-year-old steel company. Going beyond that, what else is going on? I think I moved to Nigeria now. Still on this. Okay, Sam Altman on his brother's podcast revealed that the same Meta was making $100 million bonuses, or not take-home pay, offers to OpenAI software developers just to poach them. So in addition to the $14 billion he's dropped on Scale AI to poach their CEO, he was making covert offers to their software developers to try and take them. So the AI race is really just, it's the new arms race. Zenith Bank, they released coming to Nigeria now, a press release on now you're seeing the banks coming out now. I think it was the front page, top of the masthead for this day newspaper, right? We'll have Access Banks in just a moment, but at least they came out and said, listen, we have a single obligor that breaches that 20% cap that is not supposed to be, 20% of shareholders' funds, but we are working on it. We also have 2 extra credit facilities that we are going to make provisions for. And a provision is a term that means loan loss provision. So they are going to come in line with that, and they hope to pay dividends later on this year. Access Holdings also released their press release, but they were less forthcoming than Zenith. I mean, they just said, hey, listen, we will comply by June the 30th. And as far as the credit facilities are concerned, well, we're going to have that sorted out as well. And, well, banking stocks rebounded. So we've been tracking these stocks now so Friday the 13th was when the central bank issued the notice. So Monday was the big sell-off, or you can see the red on Monday. Although GT and Stanbic at the bottom, they remain flat, because our conversation with Renaissance Capital Africa, they don't have any of these issues in terms of the regulatory forbearance. You can see on Tuesday, only FCMB rebounded. Look at GT and Stanbic. Again, they were on the up and up. But look at Wednesday. So after the issuance of the press release, I think the markets like the fact that the banks are being, to some extent transparent about what's going on. They've come forward, and so you can see all the green. Only FCMB and First Holdco that were flat. Almost everyone else was pretty much green. The stock market also rebounded yesterday. So it looks like this was a blip. Markets seem to like it. Finally, on Treasury bills, there was a still healthy demand for Nigerian Treasury bills, about 162 billion offered, over $1 trillion coming after that. Treasury true yield still healthy compared to inflation. So, expand your portfolio.
Yeah, I know. What you did.
Fair comparison.
Which one? Between which companies?
Tech, and you were talking about the U.S. Nippon Steel over 120 years. If I had taken you back in time to the Gilded Age,
yeah,
steel was like tech then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I guess what I'm saying is the amount of money.
I know.
In terms of valuation.
So Steel was like tech then.
Yeah, so it's a transition
The
now.
likes of them, Andrew Carnegie,
Massive.
were massive then. That was the Gilded Age. That was the Steel Age.
Yeah.
But today, the opium is tech.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why it's cheap. It's AI. That's why I'm splurging hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars and even going to trillions of dollars for this AI race. And that's where it's going.
Huge.
The sad reality is that we here are not part of that race. We set up an AI roundtable talk or a regulatory sandbox the other day that you went to cover in Abuja that we're talking about it, the light went off.
Yeah.
The question is, how are we pushing? What are we doing to be able to co-opt ourselves into the AI race? And you were very valid when you talked about the fact that the reason why other Arab nations are cooling off is because they've been benefiting from the American perks over the years. If you go back to the 70s and you remember Yom Kippur War, it was the Arab nations fighting Israel then. But since then, the Arab nations said, okay, highest bid, the American can do me some good. Saudi Arabia buys most of its weapons from America in the first place. So anywhere America goes, Saudi will not interfere.
Right.
Weren't you shocked that the last time Iran even tried to bomb Israel, it was a couple of other Arab nations that rallied around in support of America to be able to defend, Israel.
Iran is isolated.
That's the thing, Iran is isolated. And that's why the way of the world is commerce. Now that we're having an uptick in oil production, in oil prices, I think our Bonnie Light is plus 2 or plus 3 on top of
crude,
Brent. So if we are saying Brent is 75.52, probably we are getting about 77, 78. Question is, what are we doing with that money for the oil futures that are going up in our favor? Also, will there be an attendant increase in the pump
price,
when Dangote is going to recalculate his Pratt pricing? I don't know.
Well,
or when the Pratt recalculation will come in, will it reflect? I don't know. Or they are still going to help us, be able to ameliorate that challenge. As regards the President of America saying that any expansion policy as regards the Nippon Steel deal, the President will have to have an input, he's just doing the American first thing and safeguarding the interest of America. And that's what every leader should also do. There are some countries that, as a foreign investor, you can't have full percentage equity in that company. I know a story of a telecommunication company that when they left from the money they gained from here and they went to invest in Iran, the investment was structured in such a way that bulk of the equity had to go to indigenous companies in Iran at that point in time. So
think of the South Africa deal why they didn't let Starlink to go in, right?
So you have to have some level of input because it brings about skill transfer and the likes. And Donald Trump abusing Paul Powell, I mean, it speaks volumes about him. You see, these were the things we said, Vimbai, during the campaign. People said we didn't like Trump. We said these things.
Insulting a central bank governor.
Insulting a central bank governor because he doesn't yield to it. These were the things we said. We said no. Oh, he's not going to cause war. He's fighting a war today. See, Vimpai, I have no problems with Trump. I used to be a pro-Trump fan all these years. But when I started seeing instability in a man's ways, I'm more scared of a man that is unstable. At least, if you are a criminal, let me know you're a criminal. If you're a good man, let me know you're a good man. But you are neither hot nor cold. You blow like the wind. You will see all of this. And that's what America is facing today.
Uncertainty.
I'm sure when all of this cools down now, the next thing Trump will say is he will go and bring up tariff matter again. Because he just wants to be in the news.
July 9th, the deadline is coming.
It's coming. We'll hear tariff matter again. So these were the things. That's why I kept on saying, I'm not saying the Democrats were a whole lot better. But at least, historically, you could predict the patterns of the Democrats all these years. You know, a Kamala Harris, for instance, will stand up to Netanyahu. And she did it lead up to the campaign. That's just my point of contention. The Democrats are as corrupt and as nonsensical as you can call any political party nonsense in American politics. So it's not that I'm in support of them, but sometimes you need cool heads. Sorry, goodbye.
So, I mean, with Donald Trump and Iran, not to hold brief for him, but he has been consistent. Even during the campaign trail, he was always consistent that he doesn't believe that Iran should have nuclear weapons. So I think maybe that's why we're seeing a lot of stalling in him getting sucked into this crisis.
Negotiating bomb. How they are going to bomb you said it just now.
Rufai, let me continue.
Finish
So
analysis.
that's that. And I was watching a very interesting documentary actually on Al Jazeera yesterday about the vision around this potential regime change that they're trying to institute in Iran, and why it's called Operation Rising Lion, because of the lion that used to be on the Iranian flag before the revolution, and how they want to return to those ideals, quote unquote, that they had under the Shah before that Iranian empire was overthrown and so forth. But again, it's Al Jazeera, so we take it with a pinch of salt because it reports in favor of the other side, right? But that was just a quick one on Donald Trump and Iran. But on the, I'm coming to Powell, right? and the rates cut and so forth. I think it's such a complicated place to be. I don't think anybody is wrong or right, because Powell himself came out to say that, listen, based on current economic performance, technically they should have reduced the rates a little bit. They should have dropped rates.
2 for the year still.
Forecast 2. Yeah. But however, he's saying that holding rates is preemptive because they still don't really know what's going to happen with the tariffs. And this is the criticism I have with Donald Trump and the tariffs, is that I feel if you're going to do it, just do it once, rip off the Band-Aid, be clear about your policy direction so that everything else can fall into line around that. So for now, we know there's going to be that one surge in costs when things do fall into place, however they fall into place, which is going to reflect as inflationary. And so Jerome Powell is doing the right thing by saying that, hold on, this thing is still going to come. So let's keep rates where they are so that we can be preemptive for that cost increase. Donald Trump, on the other side, is saying that, listen, I'm trying to promote America first, and I'm trying to get America to reindustrialize. So the interest rates need to be reduced so that big business can be stimulated in America. So, this clash that's going on, the only solution I see is that Donald Trump needs to take whatever stance he's going to take on these tariffs as quickly as possible and decisively, so that we can all move on from this.
Exactly.
And then you find that
decisive?
he is I believe he is decisive,
Really?
but he's decisive, but he is just creative in how he goes about
decisive.
he's creative in how he goes about implementing what he likes. He knows what he wants, right? But he's okay with going the colorful route to achieve it.
It keeps the things interesting.
I know.
Speaking of interesting things, I'll leave you guys with your Trump, because in the lead up to the election, we did face a lot of backlash over our coverage.
Exactly.
That being said, at the beginning of your segment, you talked about how you'd noticed that many Arab countries actually hadn't said anything in defense of Iran, and that's because of the relationship that they seem to be developing with the United States, especially when you're looking at SIMs. And I think to some extent that is true. But then also, if we're looking at conflict, because we are seeing so much about Israel and Palestine and Gaza, and also Iran and Israel, we're forgetting that there's also the issue of Yemen and the Houthi rebels, which are attacking Saudi, and they are backed by Iran. So that is a big reason why Saudi and other Arab states won't really wade in, because they are also thinking that Iran are a bit too powerful, especially when it comes to their domestic forces. And that being said, I just wanted to say I really appreciate the graphics that you put up about Zenith and, all of the banks actually, so that our viewers, because like I said, I'm always the advocate for the person at the back of the classroom who's trying to keep up with what's happening. I think that your chart that showed the rates, the fluctuations, the up and the down, the flatness since Friday up until this week, I think it does a good, this chart right here, I think it does a good way of letting people understand in real life what is actually happening, what initially happened over the weekend, and then starting this week. Obviously, you see all of the red. And then, where are we? Today's Thursday. So Wednesday shows that things, after banks started relating and giving information to the media, things started picking up again. So I appreciate you.
Thank you. That's your Rise Way. That's what we do here at the Rise Way.
Break it down for the layperson.
That's why we do what we do. Stand out station.
Award winning.
Ain't nobody does it better.
On that note, Rotus Oddiri, we're able